I'm Natara, your restreamer for this evening, and with me I have the ever wonderful Crimson Avix, Game Boy F9 as your commentary, and Night Dew as your tracker. So I'm going to hand it right over to them so we can get started.
Thank you very much, Natara. And this has been quite the league so far. 122 entered this league to try to qualify, but only 32 are going to advance. And we're only about no more than 2 hours away from finding out who's moving on to the league. So as Natara said, I am Game Boy F9. I'm joined by Crimson Avix. Good evening.
How is it going? I'm excited to see this. Definitely a lot of good runners in this race, and a lot of good runners still on that bubble to make it into those 32 that make the tournament itself.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite the thing, as we've been given the countdown and the go, and this competition has begun.
Yeah, now a lot of the beginning of this game will be chest checking and just a little feeling out for the seed, as we start with two mages, Fusoya, which is the Great Mage, and Palom. So we have potential black magic from both, which is very nice for combat, but we're going to be doing a lot of chest checking, and we also have the Twin Harp, so another possible progression method for another item.
Yeah, so it's really cool to... Everybody is like, oh, Fuso, yeah, this is awesome. Well, he doesn't start off with a lot. He's only got 500 hit points and a few low-level spells. So it's not like it's a free seed straight away.
No, we will see runners doing a lot of early boss battles. That will give Fusoya additional firepower. For every boss that you defeat in this game, up to 14, he will gain an additional 3 black or white spells and an additional 100 hit points. So he does become more powerful very quickly too. And some good items here in the Baron shop. Won't see many purchased right now, but tier 3s are definitely something that you'll want to remember, as well as the pass being there.
Wow, pass straight away. You're going to need 10 grand for it, but that's not hard to find. We see Cassidy quickly picking up a siren, so that'll be nice later on. As we see Anna pass away there, and Cassidy's going to pick up the hovercraft.
Yeah, very quick run to the hovercraft for Cassidy, while others were checking out Baron. So unfortunately, without the hook, won't be able to do much with that hovercraft, but it is a nice thing to clear out, especially if you do end up needing it later. Cure and Lit 1 are really the two good spells on Fusoya's side right now. Definitely we'll be looking to see what else we get as we clear out some of the bosses, and we're going to have a check over in Troya.
I'm kind of liking this. Cassidy branching out from everybody else, but we are starting to see the branches going out here with CasualGeekDave going to quickly knock out the Mist Dragon here, the Mist Dragon spot.
Yeah, well, I expect to see a reset really quickly. Actually, he is going for the Fusoya spells, so there's another purpose to doing that. You may see some runners check this area regardless if they have Fusoya or not, and that's just to check to see if Mist Dragon is here. We are playing with flags we call no free lunch. That means any free characters or free items aren't going to be available to us. So an item that you would normally get for free from Edward and Troya is now moved to the mother of Viridia, and in order to get that item from her, you actually have to defeat the actual Mist Dragon, not the enemy in the Mist Dragon spot.
So Cassidy now checking out that spot over there. We saw Gaia drums for sale, so that's a really nice attack item to start the game here.
Yeah, both Fu and Palom will get access to Quake later on, but until then, it is a great item for quick clearing some of these enemies out, especially if you get bosses that have multiple bosses or do a lot of countering to physical attacks, having an option to use magic that can quickly wipe out bosses is really nice. And we have Mom Bomb at the Octomom spot, so a few more spells here for Fusoya incoming. We'll just have to wait a little bit. While we also have a check in the Antline spot coming up.
Yeah, that's Keddril doing that, and we'll see what that boss is. That will yield a key item with a relatively easy boss. So it looks like this guy's doing the exact same thing. So we'll see whether they can quickly dispatch of it or they'll have to quickly reset.
Having lit on Fu early was actually really nice because, as we see in Cassidy's part, Odin is guarding Sid up on Mount Hobbs. So Odin is a little susceptible to Lit 1, so great spells to have early on to clear out this boss quickly.
Wow, nicely played. Sid get.
And that does give Cassidy a physical attacker now, just a little bit more firepower, especially if he has found an axe or a better hammer in his searches. And we have the CPU at Antline spot.
So that's not too bad, I don't think. I mean, this spot doesn't have a ton of HP to begin with, so just a quick knockout of the defender. The attacker is going to deal some damage. It'll deal a percent of your HP, but other than that, it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, you definitely want to take out the defender in this situation because Fu and Palom will do very low damage just because they're not physical attackers, and you don't want to use magic on the CPU. So taking out the defender will take away its healing capability, and the attacker's not going to do enough damage to make any much difference there. So very good job taking out the CPU, and we'll see what key item we get.
The Luca key. Okay, so you can kill a bunch of trapdoors as a possible experience grind, but that's really not the experience grind you want. Not with these flags.
Yeah, and we saw Nitch actually using Big Bombs there, which is another good method. It's just one that you want to be really careful with because Big Bomb hits all the enemies, and when you take out the attacker and defender, the CPU will start using Globe 199. He'll use it twice, which will basically one-hit KO any character at this point in the game.
So we have two people picked up that item. Keddril's moved on, gonna pick up Sid here, and looks like Nitz is gonna do the same thing. Dave's picked up Sid as well, so everybody's got a Sid now.
Yeah, we have Cassidy now fighting CPU. You'll see the same basic strats, taking out the attacker and then going directly after CPU. Oh no, Sid did take out. Yep, we see the reset there immediately from Cassidy because we would probably see some globes immediately after.
So Cassidy's going to have to quickly try again, but we'll probably take care of that, no problem. Many thanks, Night Dew. Adamant was found at Mount Hobbs.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, and a lot of runners actually might skip that. Without having access to exit, it is a little bit of an extra trek to get back there, but picking up the adamant armor is huge. Especially this early on, you can drop it on Fu, and he becomes very, very bulky and can get through a lot of battles just by himself at that point.
Yeah, the adamant armor is arguably the most OP armor in RPGs. Maybe the only armor I could compare it to is possibly Erdrick's armor in Dragon Warrior, but so the adamant armor, it has like 2 or 3 times the defense of anything else, and you have resistance to everything. So that's how overpowered the adamant armor is.
Yeah, definitely extremely favorable item. The more you get, the better off you feel for that last battle. I do believe that we are going to have a Fabul check here down on Keddril's side. I think that's where he went. And we do have Bacchus's and Stardust here, so both are very nice to pick up. He is picking up some life spells as well.
Yeah, especially the Bacchus wine, which is going to be great for the final battle. Well, looks like we have two going to go with the Fabul challenge, and let's see who's hanging out here today. Who's substituting for the Red Wings?
Yeah, so far the runners are running in pretty much a standard pattern. You'll have a lot of these checks early on, and we have Kainazo. Two weaknesses depending on what part of the battle he's in. He'll be either weak to ice in the form that he's in at the start, or when he gathers the water, he'll be weak to lit.
Yeah, but this is definitely not a bad boss to encounter in Fabul. I mean, it's not going to be ridiculously difficult by any means. So, especially when you got lit and ice and everything else. So,
yeah, I mean, he does gain a little bit of HP just because the Fabul Gauntlet, there's so many enemies and they do have a lot of cumulative HP, but the speed there and everything else doesn't make him dangerous at all. So really quick work there on the side of Keddril. So we'll see what key item we get here, and it is the hook.
Yep, one hook. So basically you now have access to the underworld, although it is the hard way, because you've got to go through a very long cave and you have to deal with two bosses, one of them quite difficult. Usually.
Yeah, actually, depending on who you get, both of them can be rather difficult fights, especially if your party isn't well equipped to deal with them. So and because of the nature of where it is and everything else, to have to sort of go back and adjust and everything else can be a big time loss. So the runners are still hoping to find the magma key here on the overworld.
So I see on Dave's side that he has picked up a cat claw as a treasure, if I'm not mistaken, which is good if he happens to pick up Yang, or I would definitely say Yang, because cat claw increases defense. As we see Cecil in the as the character to gain, which is not the best character in the world, but it's okay. And as we have the King and Queen Eblin, this is a free fight. I'd be a little bit more concerned about what's going to happen after this fight.
Yeah, actually, you would prefer the King and Queen to be on the other side, because the next fight has a ton more HP, and it looks like we have Baigen.
Yeah, Baigen, I think that's okay.
Yeah, he'll carry a lot of HP, and once you use your first magical attack on him, he will wall, so that does prevent a little bit of your firepower afterwards. But having Stardust in hand, Keddril's not going to have too much difficulty here.
Yeah, great play there. Well, except the Cure 2 is going to bounce off of Palom, and 352 back to Vigan here.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
the amount that he was damaging, I don't think it's too much concern. But yeah, we do see Fabul completed on, I think, both Cassidy and Dave's side. So a lot of our runners progressing on, getting the same items, the dreaded hook before the magma key.
And we have Keddril defeating Baigen. Oh, and Fusoya just picked up Quake. And a Sand Ruby. So that's good for another character if you head on over to Kaipo. While Nitsky is going to head up Mount Ordeals.
That's actually not going to be bad for him if he returns to Baron at all, because that will give him Paladin Cecil right away. Anytime you complete ordeals, whether Cecil and Tella are in your party or not, they will gain their upgraded status. Cecil becoming a Paladin, Tella learning Medio that he can't use without Soma drops. And the other big thing for Nip's guy is that this is 3 additional bosses to power up Fusoya.
Looks like I see sirens over in Kaipo, so that's a good place to visit.
Yeah, and we are going to get the check here for the characters. So we have a Kain, so not bad at all.
Yeah, that's one of the best melee attackers in my opinion. Because, I mean, Kain can equip some pretty powerful stuff. They can jump. Everybody likes Kain, I think.
And we see our first boss up on ordeals is Luge and Balnob and Balnob Z and every other form that Luge takes throughout. So, yeah, not really a difficult fight. It's just more of an annoying fight, especially when he starts using gas and everything else. So hopefully be able to, or, you know, gas can completely miss, which is always nice too.
Yeah, it's possible that I do believe Nitz did pick up the adamant armor over at Mount Hobbs. So if the gas wound up on Fusoya, miss. All right, so we now have Keddril heading up Mad Ordeals to power up Cecil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Cecil and Fu. This will be a really good ordeals trip for Keddril, and we have a vanilla, what almost seems like a vanilla Z, but he's accompanied by 3 of his companions, but we don't get to see any of them. So for all intents and purposes, it's vanilla Z.
So yeah, so we can thank the 4 elements for playing there.
And now the easiest of the 3 ordeal battles.
Yeah, and the reason that's the case is because it has the fewest hit points by a substantial margin.
Yeah, 1,000 hit points, and we do get a key item up here, and it is the tower key. So a bunch of stuff for the underworld, but still only have the hard access to the underworld right now.
Yeah, now there's still another...
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Vanilla.
Well, wow, two consecutive vanilla bosses here, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering if this is even randomized, but don't worry, it is. There'll be more good stuff coming up later on. All right, so there is one other place you can check in the overworld currently, if I understand. Yes. So that is the Magus Cave, where the Dark Elf usually is. So we'll see if they go for that, or if they would rather just go ahead and take the hook and try to get to the underground.
Yeah, the Twin Harp is a time sink, because you do have to go through a pretty substantial walk just to get to where Dark Elf is, and then you have a massive cutscene, but it is one of the most entertaining spots to check in the game just because of the music that you get. We see Keddril elects to go the killing Rubicant route rather than the Mylon Z one, so we get to see 2 different sprites die on that screen.
But it all results in the same ending: the 4 elements falling to their doom.
Yeah, and part of the reason I like the whole Fusoya challenge is an example of right there, when we use Ice 3 to defeat a boss that ends up unlocking Ice 1 for us.
Well, we haven't figured out Nitzguy's decision quite yet, because gonna head over to Agora, check the items here, pick up a couple moon veils, just in case. He's put into a situation where needs to wall.
Yeah, moon veils are actually nice because even if you don't need to wall, moon veils also raise your physical evasion, so it pretty much makes you pretty invincible to mostly everything you're going to deal with. So it's a very nice item to have just in case. I know in some areas, especially with Hook being potential underworld access, that will be a big player for some enemies.
So I caught over on Cassidy's screen a ribbon found in the Mist Village. The ribbon is well, it's probably the second best. It's definitely the best helmet you can find, because it makes you immune to virtually everything, or at least gives you a high resistance. So I consider it like the cheap adamant armor, I suppose.
Or you can pair it with the adamant armor and just be ridiculously immune to almost everything.
All right, so we see Nitz heading over and gonna defeat Baigan to pick up, if I'm not mistaken, Paladin Cecil. Dave's getting Cecil all powered up, finishing Mount Ordeals. Cassidy's going to wake up Kane from his fever.
So I think...
much.
I think keddril is the first one that has completed most of those, and it looks like he is electing to opt against Twin Harp right now, and he is going to dive into the Ebon Cave.
Ooh, so that's interesting. There is a shop you can go to, so we'll see if this pays off.
And where Fu right now is in levels, I wouldn't be surprised to see keddril pretty much dive every single chest in here looking for more things. And the Stardust Rod, well, that's just the big prize right there. I mean, having 2 black mages on your team, that will definitely be a great item to hold. And yeah, he's immediately putting it on Palom. But there are a lot of chests within the Ebon Cave on your way back, so definitely would expect to see him check most of them. Shouldn't have too much of an issue with the golems that he may encounter.
So it looks like Cassidy's going to do the exact same thing, so we're 0 for 2 on the Twin Harp here, but I think Nitzguy is going to break that. Let's see. First, he's checking some items.
Yeah, maybe doing a little shopping first. We'll see if he elects to then dive into the castle. May elect to buy some... Nope. Maybe. I don't know if he's going to buy some Gara drums or not. But no, it looks like he's just rearranging his magic now. Oh, where was I going with this? So the Stardust one that was discovered. So the rules of this flag set is that you can pick up anything, like the white spear that will immediately go onto Kane over on Keddril's side. So you can run into anything with this flag set, but you purchase what you purchase. You can't just purchase adamant armors. So you do have to find the super awesome items. Now that's going to change when we get to the league starting next week. Now, next week, you're not going to be able to get adamant armor straight away. So that's going to be one of the things that's going to make life a little bit more interesting. Yeah, definitely. But as we saw with the White Spear, that's exactly why we're checking the chest here. Fu going to get off a quick. Now, normally these Steelmen are very, very strong against magical attacks, but with Fu being where he is and using Quake, definitely not an issue at all, even though Sid did take a little bit of a swoon there, but not too big of a deal. We'll be picking up the rest of these items as well. And, well, there we get the Life Staff, too. So in Evelyn Cave, we get the White Spear, the Life Staff, and the Stardust Rod, 3 best weapons in their respective categories.
Don't forget about the Protect Ring either, too. My goodness. Protect Ring is, I would say, the strongest ring in the game.
Definitely one of the strongest. Depending on what you intend to do with it, Strength Ring and Crystal Ring are also extremely, extremely good.
Looks like Tella is going to be at the spot over at Keddril's side, where, and also it looks like a Lunar Subterrane boss will be the really strong boss coming in here. So that's going to make things quite interesting for those going through that section of the game. Same thing for Cassidy. I highly doubt Tella's going to be involved, and actually Cassidy noped out of it, so...
Yeah, and we actually do have Nitz and Dave doing the dive for the Twin Harp right now, so we'll get to hear a little tune, and then we'll also see if that gamble will pay off for them.
Yep, we are listening to Nitz's stream here, so we will hear the tune in just one moment's time. But first, everybody has to get destroyed.
Yeah, basically committing suicide just to expedite that. Otherwise, Dark Elf will use 3 elemental attacks and then use weak on everyone, and then they'll say, oh, we can't if they're still alive. So it's just a lot easier to kill yourself.
Yeah, I love it when Fusoya defeats himself in that regard. But all right, it's time to figure out what will the tune be. All right, Krim, here we go. Name that tune.
Well, it seems we got the battle theme from Final Fantasy VII.
Running away. Sorry, Natara, I had to do that. She started that, Natara restreamer. But we'll soon find out who the boss is here, and it'll be the Me Change. Oh no, it's Golbez!
So Golbez is, really interesting here because this is a magical fight typically, but Nitz is going to cheese it. He has Moon Veils. Golbez uses all magical attacks. This will turn out to be a fairly easy battle for him.
Yeah, but I have to say, this is what makes this randomizer so fun, is that you have, it's not just I pick up the adamant armor, or I pick up all these really awesome items and I get the easiest bosses or whatever. No, it's these hard bosses and you have to figure out a strategy to get through them. And Nitz right here, excellent strategy, throwing up those moon veils.
Absolutely. We also see... down on Cassidy's stream why he elected to nope out of Evelyn Cave, and that is to go transform Cecil into the Paladin form.
And it looks like the 2 demolishes failed over on Nitz's side, so very, very good right there. I probably hit the player with the adamant armor. Dave's in the same breath here to going after Golbez here. And that was... and just as I announced that, Golbez is down over on Nitz's side. Good game.
Yeah, a little bit more difficulty for Dave because of the high magic defense here. So, unfortunately, gonna have a little bit of difficulty doing this with Fu and magic, but we'll see what we can get out of this. Okay, a Meteor. That works.
Hooray, Meteo! All right, so it looks like the first boss down in the Tower of Babel is the Fabul Gauntlet.
Yeah, more annoying for the length rather than the enemies. Just, you know, the continuous battles and going in and out of battles. It's just extremely long and frustrating to, at least for me as a runner, to encounter it at any spot because I just want to get through the battles. So, now from the Twin Harp, we did get the Baron Key, so that does open up one additional thing on the overworld. We'll see if the runners choose to do that before diving into the underworld here.
Oh, I saw a lunar staff over in Kaipo. I don't know if that was noticed before or not, but oh, okay. So Keddril's doing a pretty neat trick here, using the life staff on an already dead character, and basically what that does is it gives bonus experience points, taking advantage of that bug. So, good play there.
Yeah, I mean, if you have it, use it, even if it's just for a little bit of extra experience. It's very heavily utilized on a experience grind called the D Machine, which we may or may not see later, depending on what we get. Having Sirens, I doubt we'll see it, but that is very commonly used strategy. So we do have Dave diving into Baron Castle right now as well, avoiding the hook at all costs.
Yeah, I like that play for the reasons I've mentioned earlier about how those two bosses can be pretty difficult. Although the first boss is relatively easy, so let's see how it plays out. I mean, also two bosses, as I believe you mentioned earlier, Krim, is to help Fusia even further.
Yeah, the game definitely leading the runners on paths that really help cap out Fusoya really quickly, which is nice for when you have to get into some more of those difficult bosses. And wow, all the arrows in that shop, including Artemis arrows, which are actually extremely useful if you choose to have one of your fighters in the back row using arrows instead.
So Keddril finally getting through the Fabul Gauntlet. It was quite the challenge, but gonna go back, heal up, while Dave has to deal with, I believe, Leviathan.
Yeah, Leviathan, it's always an interesting boss at this point. It's never too scary, especially with OP Fu, but with a slightly lesser group or group that isn't leveled as much, it can be quite a scary battle at either of the Baron spots, really. And we'll get to see our lunar boss here.
2D lunars. So here's the key with this battle. Do not fight. Well, Keddril's ignoring that. Is going to fight. Especially with all those hit points. But here we go. Time for two walls and time for a bunch of viruses.
Yeah, with Fu having Quake, the walls aren't as scary because you can at least still get by them, but the fact that you'll have the D-Lunars just bouncing all those viruses is pretty ridiculous. Stardust Rod also helps out immensely. Except when it does damage like that.
Yeah. Yeah, now everybody's starting to get some serious damage here.
And we got dolls at Kainaza spot, so that's another fun battle.
Keddril looking to reset. I think they'll give it another go here.
Yeah, he may elect to not use physical attack next time. Really, the only one that you are pretty much tied to not being able to attack is Cecil, because Kane can jump and it will bypass that trigger for wall. And Dave making very, very quick work of the Cals and the Brennas. Never seen Calbrenna.
Nicely played there. That's going to gain a character and a key item. Meanwhile, we see a monster that isn't typically seen in Free Enterprise, the Green Dragon.
And Dave is dismissing Sid to take the White Mage Porum, so he now has twin power.
Yeah, that's not a bad play. I mean, Sid is a tank, but I mean, extra cure ability, that's nice. And I don't think Rose have been picked up. So yeah, I'd say very good play to get rid of Sid.
Yeah, it completely depends on the methodology that you want to take into the final battle. If you're running a mage team, it actually is not a bad option at all to drop Sid. Keep Cecil as your anchor, so you know once you hit that 28 agility, you can just drop him and don't have to worry about him at all. So it is not a horrible decision there. It looks like Dave may be opting to look the route of mage for his final battle.
Okay, here we go. Keddril's going to try the D-Lunars again. Oh, we're going to fight again.
And is electing to still use the attack from Cecil, so they will once again be pounding him with the viruses. And we do have Cassidy still fighting Golbez, trying to get through to get the Twin Harp item.
Dave's, meanwhile, picking up the hovercraft. And we'll see if Keddril's going to be able to take care of these, but it's going to be tough because those D-Lunars have so much HP. He's also trying the technique where where he's drawing the can't run to try to slow the battle down a bit, but if Fujiya takes another hit, it's going to be big trouble.
Yeah, some other things that I'm not sure if Keddril is thinking about is he does also have the Dragon Spear, which will do increased damage. So, I mean, the White Spear also does because they are undead, but he has various options. But I think the biggest problem is he is continuing to attack, and definitely should be avoiding that. Also, we have seen with the Baron Key having the Adamant that this fight is going to be required for all of our runners.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite the challenge, and it's something all the runners really look forward to. So we'll see how this works out in the next attempt. Looks like Kedric's going to try to grind for points here. while Cassidy's headed toward Baron.
Cassidy going to do Baron. We have Dave heading into the back of Evelyn Cave and going to be making his way into Babel. So he's right on the heels of keddril. And yeah, so we'll see if he's able to catch up and actually surpass at this point and get into the underworld first.
Well, we're going to find out really soon here. While it looks like keddril's actually struggling with the random encounter with these mad ogres here. So,
yeah, mad ogres are the best way to handle them is to just go after them with Sid and his axe. But he is actually using the life technique again on some of these, some of the ogres as he's killing them. We'll see if he can manage to keep this whole party up when he takes that final one out.
So now here we go. Virtually everybody's heading on over to the Evelyn Cave now, except Cassidy, who's gonna take care of Leviathan and Calabrana, and he'll do the same thing. So
yeah, he's already checked some of the Evelyn, so he'll at least have a little bit more knowledge. And yeah, keddril is doing everything possible to sort of buff his team a little bit more just for that fight, but can only do so much because I don't believe he has any tents or cabins available to heal up.
all right, so Dave is now going through the Fabul Gauntlet at this point. Looks like he's having a little bit of an easier time with it so far. Just throwing down virus after virus.
Yeah, virus will make very, very quick work of all these enemies. And luckily having a napping forum right there is not really a big deal because none of these battles will actually give any experience. King, Queen, Evelyn don't give any experience in the vanilla game, so there will be no experience from the spot. So having them nap does not make a big deal.
All right, as we see Cassidy defeating Leviathan and gonna take care of Calabrana probably pretty quickly, I would think. I saw him pick up the white spear and immediately equipped it.
Yeah, I think all of our runners will be doing that. It seems that keddril was actually just grinding in order to get Quake for Palom, because now having 2 Quakes at his disposal, he may be able to make a little bit quicker work of these D-Lunars. Unfortunately, still did attack with Cecil, so they have their walls back up with their viruses.
All right, so we are 43 minutes into this race. None of our 4 featured runners has been able to enter the underground yet, but we might have our first with Dave. Let's see what happens. Well, Dave's got a significantly stronger Quake from Fusoya. We have big bombs coming out, dealing with all the AoE.
Yeah, utilizing items and everything instead of attacking, that is going to give him a much easier time with this. Quakes, the viruses. So Well, it's going to still be a little bit of damage that he has to deal in order to get past them. He's not going to have to deal with the viruses, so about the only thing he would be concerned about is if the battle took so long that they used bad breath. But of course, he also does have a ribbon to prevent against that. And it looks like we have a little more grinding from keddril. Maybe hoping to get a little more HP and everything else, but not having a way to heal between battles is going to be a little difficult, especially when magic doesn't really do much against them.
Down goes the D-Lunars from Dave. That was not very difficult at all. He's off to the underground.
And we do have Nitz entering his gauntlet within Babel. And Cassidy is finally joining the party in Evelyn, heading towards the entrance to the underworld.
Now let's see. Did Dave pick up any sirens? Because if he did, because if he did, he's going to be in line for a ton of experience in a moment.
Yeah, I did also see coffins on the overworld, but it looks like he is going to dive into the land of the summoned monsters first. Did not save, so he is actually not going to be doing any checking of the chest in this area. There is one pretty nasty trap chest battle, so he's just going to avoid it at all costs and just go right up to the non-encounter area. And he'll be able to check all the chests and everything up there.
And that includes a key item, and we're going to find out in just a second what that item is. First, looks like he's going to do a little shopping.
Now, I'm not sure exactly the location of each of the items, but he may not have checked one of the shops on the overworld because I believe we have already seen the 4 of the most commonly needed items, which are sirens, coffins, Bacchuses, and the pass. He may have been looking for silk webs as well, but that would probably be the only item left to really try to find at this point.
And 3 cheers to Cassidy over there. He had a chat with one of the fallen soldiers there, and it was, hook seeds are the worst.
Yeah, that's pretty much accurate.
I believe the package was picked up as the key item.
Is an additional character, but I don't think it's anything that our runners will want to do at this point. They'll pretty much have an idea of how they want to handle the end game, and the package is such a long sequence of events just to get that character that it's best avoided.
So there was one reason why... Never mind. Dave's going to do some shopping here. While Keddril's gonna try the D-Lunars again.
This fight can be absolutely devastating if you don't know the strategy behind handling them and avoiding that wall and virus. Also, good item for Cecil was found in the Land of the Summoned Monsters. There was a crystal glove there, which is absolutely a great item.
And there's the fight once again, and here come the walls and virus.
And our great tracker Night Dude did inform us that D-Mist is actually at the Ashura location in Land of the Summon Monsters, so we know where D-Mist is, if that would potentially be the location of the crystal, which would be absolutely brutal.
Well, that would be a proper way to finish qualifying here in the highway to the Zemus-Zone.
And Dave taking on the Magus Sisters, where we would normally fight the dolls. So, really interesting battle here. Cindy is always the one that you want to focus your attacks on early, because she gets the wall and also has the ability to resurrect the other characters. But of course, the Quake will just wipe them all out without an issue. The big problem for Dave right now is Portal can't seem to stay alive for any of the experience.
However, there is a thing that will be to Dave's advantage, and it's twofold. Number one, as soon as he finds sirens, coffins, whole 9 yards. Oh, Edward. Oh dear. As soon as he finds Edwards and coffins, the whole 9 yards, he can go farm eggs, and those are worth 34,000 points apiece. Unless you have 10 key items, then you're looking at 68,000 points. But that's not all, because Porum is so under-leveled that will grant that person triple points, which will very quickly put Porum back in the game, so to speak. But anyway, I'm rambling. Valvasis is the second monster, which isn't too bad for two reasons. Number one, not a ton of hit points at that boss spot, if I'm not mistaken. And number two, Kane is present.
Yeah, Kane being here does make this a lot easier. And also important for Dave is this battle will grant him his 10th key item, if I am not mistaken. So, or no, it might be his 9th. But he will be very close to that 10 key items needed in order to get the all-important double experience boost.
Yeah, I do believe that will be key item number 9 for Dave. I would say out of our 4 featured runners, Dave does have the lead here.
And what is Luca going to give us? The Earth Crystal. 2 potential characters, 1 potential key item, but it is a fetch quest, so we'll probably do some other checks first. Having the tower key, I expect a Babel check and also a visit to Yang.
And you've hit this one right in the head. He's parked outside of the Tower of Babel.
So having the tower...
All right, so Dave is climbing the Tower of Babel now. There are 2 bosses. One of them has 87 trillion hit points, so it takes a really long time to grind out. The other one is that Dave just passed by. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Is much easier to defeat.
Yeah, and really a rough go for keddril right now. Actually abandoning the Babel fight and going to Twin Harp. So it's going to cost them quite a bit of time backing out at this moment, because that's also going to lead them to the Baron Key.
Our tracker Night Dew observing a second adamant armor that I imagine keddril just picked up. So not everything's bad here.
No, and we got Rubicant at the at the top of the tower here, where we would normally find Luke. So instead of being sent away, he was the one doing the sending.
Yeah, that seems a little bit odd. And okay. So if you're new to Final Fantasy IV, welcome aboard. Glad to see you. Glare usually deals 87,000 hit points of damage, and you're usually dead. But I guess the magic power isn't all that powerful with Rubicon, so it dealt only 1 hit point of damage to Kain. And we will be saying goodbye to Rubicon there. We'll find out what the key item... Oh, never mind. We'll find out the key item now. It's the Rat Tail.
Rat Tail does actually give another key item at this point. We do have the hook already, so we can go over and grab it. But we'll probably save that until, well, of course, doing the tower key, we'll go visit Yang, and then we'll possibly put Rat Tail and visit to Sheila together. And we get to see what poor boss rolled this position, and it is Dark Elf. We will not see me change.
Aww. Well, that was 3 very powerful Ice 2, Fire 2s, and Lit 2s. Let me tell you. Yeah, what was that? I'll cast Nuke.
Baron, to answer your question, the wall virus combo is a counter trigger to whenever you physically attack them. So by not attacking them physically, you can just avoid that, and they'll just stay on their standard beginning AI script. But once they get those walls up, yeah, it's much more difficult. But Nitz may make it through here, having Fu able to hammer a lot of it, and well, that D-Lunar lost his wall, but unfortunately the fire does take out Fu, so Nitz will have to give it another go.
So right now, Dave is still the only one of our 4 featured runners that is underground. So, and I think it's been that way for a good 10 minutes or so, I'd say.
Yeah, the D-Lunars at Rubicant spot is not something that you want to see as a runner. There's actually very few enemies that you would like to see at that spot, so... We see Cassidy doing some grinding for levels and everything here, using cabins in between. We have keddril on Golbez, using Starveil, so using the correct strat just to make it super easy. Let Golbez just deplete his own. And not sure what we just saw. I missed the key item on Dave's side, believe it or not, coming out of the tower. But it looks like it was the Legend Sword. So we do have the ability to grab the Excalibur now, too, from the Dwarven Smith.
Yeah, and I don't believe we've seen the Crystal Sword yet, so that is indeed a thing. Now it's time to find out what will be given from the Rat Tail in return. Dave now has crossed 10 key items, so from now on it's double points. Darkness Crystal found. So we are still crystalless, and the chances of finding well, actually, you know what? I don't. The chances of finding that crystal at the Mist Dragon are increasing. But no matter, El Magus has finished already with a time of 58.27. He might improve on his Z-score of minus 2.127, which is an amazing score in and of itself. We'll find out here.
Absolutely. We do have Dave going to begin his Siren grind. So he did just find the Darkness Crystal, has a lot of grinding options open to him, including the D Machine. But between the cutscene and everything else, and the fact that he already has Sirens, the Siren grind is going to definitely be the quicker, especially with that 68,000 experience.
So what's your guess, Krim? How many levels will Porin pick up? 30?
27.
Oh, you win. 25. Unless we're doing Price is Right rules, then we both lose.
Absolutely. So we have Cassidy currently going through the gauntlet, and we have Nitz Guy finally taking out the D machine. The D Lunars, which are machines in their own right, but he will finally have his underworld access.
Yeah, so it's not going to be too much longer for Dave to be at the proper level to beat the game. But while we're going here, Nitz is about to pick up the Falcon. Cassidy has defeated the Fabul Gauntlet. Gonna go ahead and save first.
And to add to the shock of everyone, we do have our second finisher in the IRC, and that would be Rivers McCown with a time of 1 hour and 40 seconds.
Ooh, dang. So Rivers was, I believe, 13th in the league, in the league, so he was very likely to qualify anyway, but with that second place finished, there is absolutely no doubt that he's qualified here tonight.
So Nitz is saving, so that means one thing. He is going to be checking all these chests, or at least some of the chests, I believe, here in the Land of the Seven Monsters. Typically, you don't save otherwise, but maybe not. Maybe just checking a few in passing.
So here's the question that I'm thinking of. Everybody now knows that El Magus and Rivers have finished. Those who have gotten to the underground, possibly noticing that Miss Dragon was down at the basement, did they go after that Miss Dragon and was able to pick up the crystal?
It's an interesting thought, but trying to metagame off of either one of those runners is a bad idea to begin with. Nitz did save, so potentially maybe he is considering fighting Miss Dragon if he sees it here. So we'll see what that leads him to. We do have Cassidy going after the Lunars now. Keddril is in Baron. Unfortunately, the sequence of events that comes from that. So put him on a little bit more of a time loss, but they are taking on Leviathan right now. Dave is continuing his grind on the dragons. But instead is just going to save and continue on. Looks like he is going to go pay our friend Yang a visit. And Leviathan getting the great HP ran out from the virus there. So another fun way to kill bosses.
Meanwhile, Nitz is heading down the Sylvan Cave. Gonna have a little chat with Yang. I don't believe he's got the pan yet, but that will open up a key item over in Fabul. We see Keddril picking up treasures over in Baron before heading off to the next to Calbrenna.
And it's checking out the Tamra chest, which didn't really give him anything great, so he's going to go in and check the item shop to see what's available, but has to sell stuff first, because your bag's only so big.
That's another thing as to what makes this game so fun is that you have that limited item set, which you weren't as limited as you like if you go into Final Fantasy 5, 6, and 7, you don't have that really restrictive item limit. As Hippos has finished in third place, 104.39.
And it does look, well, doesn't look, it is for certain that Dave is going to go after the Mist Dragon. Coming up, resting in the land of some monsters, so we're going to see him fight Mist Dragon in the Asura spot.
So Hippos raced in the second race and had to forfeit, and with that third place finish, is a very high chance that Hippos qualifies for the league here. Which, if that's true, that would mean JC87 is out because he was in 32nd.
And this is why Mist Dragon here is very scary, because it has a lot of speed and it hits like a truck. So the nuke will definitely help things out, but trying to get these attacks and everything off before it turns into mist is very key. Dave trying to time his attacks just right. See him just sitting on Fusoya right now, just waiting for it to turn back, and we'll probably go right back for a nuke.
And I think there's a Meteo standing by as well.
And oh my, Game Boy, we have Vanilla Pan for Knit, so fetch Quest City there.
Oh, dang. Oh, Meteo goes in reverse. I did not know that. I'm sorry, I did not know that Meteo is... Wow, okay.
Well, now everyone has learned that Meteo is wholly elemental.
I think this will be okay though, because I think Dave's doing pretty good job dismissing of this demiss, so might see it go down a little bit. We'll have to take a coldness, but that doesn't deal any damage.
Yeah, this is definitely nothing that Dave can't keep up with, having two people capable of healing. Unfortunately, no more nukes on Fu, so he'll have to settle for viruses, but it's definitely something he can handle. It's just going to be a little more time-consuming, especially after healing Mist Dragon that much with the Meteo. A worthless ninja sword from the Sylph Fairy there for smacking Yang.
Yeah, that will be one of the changes in the League flags, is that those Sylvan Fairies very well could carry a key item. So, another thing to look forward to starting next week.
And we do have our fourth place finisher, Ginger Damas, with a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, 16 seconds.
Yeah, Ginger was 19th heading into this race. Might be improving on that score tonight.
And we do have Dave immediately jettisoning for the village Maybe? Did he forget where Mist was? Yes, he did. Okay, now he's at Mist, and we're going to see what we get from Rydia's mother.
Oh, nope, pink tail. Okay, well. All right, you all, everybody in chat wins. I should not be metagaming. But the pink tail is very good still, because you can turn that into you can turn that in for the for another adamant armor. So,
and Dave is now going to dive into Luca. The problem with this is that on Nitz's side, we just saw the crystal come from Sheila. So the fetch quest of the pan is what nets you what you really need.
and now with that, I do believe it is time to grind for Nitzguy. Yep. And that it turns out to be very bad news for Dave, because gonna head on this way and gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, about the only good part about this is he still at least has warp, so it's not going to be a complete walk out of here. But this is just time sink. I didn't see it, but I'm going to assume that he saves, so he may just elect to just reset if it's something like the spoon. But we do have two more finishers. Izan Tiama finished in 5th place with a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, 57 seconds. Zyrak immediately after with a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, 48 seconds.
So Izan was 39th coming into today. Now has a really good chance of making the league. Zyrak was in the top 32, was booted out after race 3, now has a good chance of making the league here. Magma Key. Instant reset from Dave. Oh,
yeah.
Play, not saving there.
Yeah, pointless to try to even walk back out. Meanwhile, keddril has finally gotten past the D-Lunars, so he has made his way into the underground. We'll see if he is able to figure out the Yang path.
Chokosura finishing in 7th place, 71 minutes 44 seconds.
And my goodness, Dave is now going to dive Earth Crystal. So going every way but the way he needs. This is going to be quite a bit of time lost here. Dave is raiding the chest at Troy Castle, though.
Meanwhile, Nitzguy is defeating trapdoors, actually, to get experience.
I don't know what his status on Sirens is, but he may not have had coffins and felt this was a easier way of handling it. But my guess is that he just may not have Sirens at this point.
All right, so we have keddril defeating the Dark Elf. Fuxia is at full power. While Cassidy is going to try to tackle the Lunars, the D-Lunars, excuse me. The Antlion is the boss, is the first boss at the Tower of Zot.
With his levels, this is not going to be much of an issue at all for Dave. Doesn't even get hit by the counters. We do have our 8th place finisher, Big Dunka, with a time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, 16 seconds.
Yeah, Big Dunka was 72nd heading into this race, so very possible that with 8th place might make the lead. We'll find out before too long. It's not long now before we find out who's going to enter the league. Yang is one of the 2 characters at the Tower of Zot.
Really, really good character to find unless you're already fully leveled like Dave is. Riddy is the other character. Yang would be definitely a character I would consider taking at this point if I didn't have a lot of levels, just because of the damage output that he can do. But at this point, you're fully invested in the team you have.
And it looks like Dave's going to have to deal with the Kaipo fight.
Very simple fight to deal with. And now Nit's dealing with some Manicores, just trying to get those levels any way possible.
70,000 experience is nothing to laugh about, though. Scratch Dragon finishing in 9th place, 1:15.41. Supremacy finishing 28 seconds behind that, 1:16.09. Now Dave's gonna get the bad news here.
And basically, this is going to be the spoon here. Basically, for Dave, this has been a 17 out of 17 seed because he knows Lucky Key leads to Magna Key, so he now knows I need to go get something from Sheila, which would be the Pan, which will lead to the Crystal. Or maybe he doesn't even realize that he didn't check Yang yet, because I think he was just checking to see if he had Crystal there.
Z-Man finishes in 11th place with a time of 1:17.15.
Yeah, Z-Man, another one of our very close bubble players. We'll see if this is enough to help him get in, but Schmitty finishing right behind, 1 hour, 17 minutes, 30 seconds.
So the way this works is that all of our runners are going to be assigned a Z-score. It's basically how far away from the average time are you. If whoever has we take the best score out of those 4 races that you may or may not have done, and the top 32 would make it to the league.
Gaming with a Wraith coming in 13th at 1 hour, 17 minutes, 54 seconds.
Yeah, Gaming with a Wraith was 33rd coming into this race, so... Ooh, gonna be close.
Apparently, Game Boy chat not very much on your side with doing the math for Z-scores.
To which I would say, what's that game? Final Fantasy Tactics. A lot of Final Fantasy Tactics players.
And And Dave did finally talk to Yang, went and talked to Sheila, got the pan, has to revisit now. So Dave still may be able to beat out Nit's guy to the final battle.
Meanwhile, Keddril has picked up Excalibur.
And Cassidy is starting his grind.
And now Dave's gonna go ahead and scoop up Yang and pop him on the head. Ravlin finishes 1:19.53. Grystor finishes 1 second behind.
Our first true snipe of this race. Wouldn't be surprised if we get one or two more, but Dave finally talking or smacking Yang with the pan. Gonna go get his crystal now, and then immediately head for Troya for his access to the Zemus fight. Easy access.
Oh, look what Dave did. Unequip the animant from Fusoya and equip it at Emporum instead. So here's the issue with that. And this very well may have been intentional. But the problem is now Fusoya is weak to ice, lit, and fire for the remainder of the game. Although that perhaps might not be so bad anymore because, well, I believe it's time for Zeromus, so I suppose it doesn't matter.
Yeah, at this point it's moot. It's moot. It's going to be the Zeromus fight, and well, Zeromus doesn't use elemental. Well, fire, ice, or lit elemental. He does use Meteor at the end of the fight, but that won't have any effect.
All right, Keddril has defeated the first boss at the Dwarf Castle. Now going for the second. Shouldn't be much of an issue there.
An interesting question from our tracker, and I didn't happen to notice, but did Dave actually go back to talk to Sheila to get the item for the pan? Or is he going into Zeromus without the crystal?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. As we see Kirchen finishing in 16th place, 1:22.05. We still have 44 runners left to run here. All right, so here's the fun thing. Zeromus, well, let's see what happens here. But Zeromus, after the crystal used, isn't necessarily going to turn into super evil Zeromus. Zeromus is going to turn to something completely different. Oh, where is the crystal?
Yes, he did not grab it.
Yeah. All right. Mir Noko, I hope I pronounced that correctly. 1:22.39 in 17th place. Dr. Spin, 18th place, 1:23.03. And you notice that Dave's screen has blacked out. He has elected to withdraw from the race. Dipwood finishing 1:23.18. Invenerable finishing 5 seconds behind, 1:23.23.
Yeah, for Dave, it's probably just frustration at this point. Trying to figure out, like, what he missed, may not have even realized he didn't go back to Sheila. And we do have 2 additional finishers. Great White Hope finishes in 21st place with a time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, 50 seconds. Alexa LaFay, a time of 1 hour, 24 minutes even.
Okay, it looks like Dave's actually going to go back into the race. But Matamides finishes 23rd place, 124.33.
Looks like Nitz is ready to make his play towards the Zeromus fight, so we'll hopefully get to see that Zeromus fight pretty soon.
Keddril's going to head on down to Yang, it looks like.
And Dusty Griff finishes in 24th place. Has a time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, 7 seconds.
So 24 have finished. We had 2 forfeits during the race before El Magus finished first. So there are still 36 runners.
And Dave is back and has realized, hey, I need to go back and give something back to Sheila before I can actually go to the Zeromus fight. So he has done that, and now he will be making his way to Z as well.
Shamstron finishing in 25th place, 126.01. So you notice Dave spending the night at the inn. The thing is that you do get a free cure at the Zeromus fight, but which Nitz is going to take on right now. So, as we mentioned earlier, Zeromus, when the crystal is used, isn't going to turn into super evil Zeromus. Zeromus is going to turn into something else. We're going to find out here in just a second.
This is, in my belief, the only flag that should be on for every single randomizer race. Heck, sometimes you should play Final Fantasy IV Vanilla with this flag on.
Hey, I'm not objecting. That is correct. Dave has unforfeited, so back in. All right, here we go. Place your bets. Who is Zeromus going to be today? Proto Man from Mega Man 3. I love it.
Protomus, one of the smallest Z sprites, actually. So it's kind of entertaining, not only to watch the battle against him, but to watch as he fades away after the death. So should be nice. We do also have 2 more finishers. Mr. Ubik in 26th place with a time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, 16 seconds. Couch 23 right behind, 1 hour, 27 minutes, 20 seconds.
Yeah, and Couch commented, not good enough, but I can live with it. And I think that is an accurate statement, because in the second race, he had a very good score. So, 5th place, was in 5th place entering the 4th race. So, I think we'll definitely see Couch in the league here coming up.
And Porum ended up falling to that big bang after taking the nuke. Now, you'll see a lot of runners go ahead and either use a Silk Web or some sort of magic early on against Zeromus. And what that does is, every time Zeromus uses nuke, virus, or whatever, it will weaken his magic power for that big bang. He usually will bring that back up by shaking, but if you time it correctly, you can actually do what we call nerfing the big bang and weaken its damage against your entire party. So you'll see a lot of runners use magic in order to get that counter.
There's the Big Bang now. And, ooh, that's still dealt a lot of damage there.
Yeah, Palom unfortunately going to fall to the sap aspect of the Big Bang.
Kobahi, hope I pronounced that correct, 28th place, 129.21.
So Nit's in a little bit of trouble right now, is going to have to rely on a lot of curing from Fu and basically Berserk Cecil and Berserk Kane. The big problem with this is if he doesn't have any ethers or a way of healing or resupplying Fu's magic, Fu will run out before the battle's over, so he may have to take a reset.
And it's not helping that the black holes are coming out quite frequently, which is removing all the Bacchus wines.
Absolutely. We had Accident and the Fizz both finish. Accident 130.16, the Fizz 130.25, and Bentizi 130.43. So we are up to 31st place in this race so far.
And Mecha Link finishing 32nd place, 130.54. He was, Mecha Link was on the bubble, 27th place entering this race.
So Dave still has his entire party still standing as of right now, so we'll see what he can do if he can keep them up for this battle. Porom with a low amount of HP, so he's going to hope these Big Bangs nerf enough. With the nuke, luckily having the adamant armor on Porom definitely dispels a lot of that damage. We do have keddril also doing his grind right now, while I believe Cassidy is on the path right now for Crystal.
And I noticed over on Nit's stream, Fusoya did have an elixir on him, so was able to restore health that way. Oh, but Big Bang was too powerful, and Fusoya is out. In this case, Black Hole might be a good thing.
And Father Gamer actually finished in 33rd place with a time of 1 hour, 31 minutes, 24 seconds. The reason I bring them up is because they literally started running this like right before the league started. So definitely a good example of anyone being able to jump in and really learn the game and have fun with it and get much better. So congrats to them.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of those randomizers where I don't exactly know Father Gamer's history, but it's one of those randomizers where you don't have to know Final Fantasy IV at all. You can just pick up the randomizer and go for it.
So I have to say, Nitz got to the Meteor stage and is able to finishes with a time of 133.05, so able to squeak it out even with Fu going down when he did. So good game to Nitz. Joey finishing right behind 133.14.
Yeah, that was well played by Nitz. Absolutely.
Dave is still getting through his battle. We'll see if he is able to make it through without issue, I believe that he will. Yes, there is the media phase, so we will see a dot done from Dave pretty soon here.
And there's the flash, and there's the finish. 37th place, 134.05. So that leaves out of our four featured runners, Cassidy and keddril still being shown. We still have, let's see. I believe we still have 20 racers still running here.
And there on keddril's side, we did just smack gang with the pan, so we will be on our way to pick up the crystal.
So while we're heading into the closing stages of our final qualifying race, I do want to take a quick moment to thank those behind the scenes to make this possible. Our restreamer today is Natara. Thank you very much for all your contributions toward the league so far. We look forward to more of your contributions real soon. Also, many thanks to our tracker, who is NightDew14. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, you came in to this race 7th. We look forward to seeing you in the league starting next week.
And I think the other big thing is, if you aren't doing it already, follow RPG Limit Break, because they're going to be the place to find all of these league matches. Going to be a lot of great, entertaining matches coming up. So I personally can't wait to see it.
Just so you know, we will actually be restreaming some of the matches on also Randomania and Speed Gaming, I believe, depending on availability. So make sure to follow all of those channels, as they are amazing supporters. And now I'll give it back to the commentators.
Thanks, Natara. Now, we did just see on the side of keddril that there were silk webs available for purchase. So he went ahead and made those purchases, and will at least have the ability to slow down Zemus quite a bit. That actually helps with getting more attacks in. Makes the fight easier, especially if your agility is set to where it needs to be. Going to visit Sheila now to get his crystal, and I believe his party is in good enough shape to go on and take on Zemus.
There indeed is the crystal. So here we go. So while we head toward the end here, I think what I'd like to do is take a quick moment to talk about the difference between the qualifying flags and the league flags that are coming up. One of the key things I mentioned a little bit earlier, and actually before we do that, we're actually going to say good evening to Dave. Good game.
I guess so. Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely was quite the interesting seed for sure, for you especially. Yes.
Yeah, I obviously saw there I had a little bit of frustration set in with me, but I jumped back in, went ahead and finished. The main frustrating thing for me was I actually had the thought run through my head to hit Sylph, and then forgot about it, and that probably cost me like 20 to 30 minutes. But Yeah, otherwise, I mean, the seed wasn't too bad. In certain places, it was a little bit of a struggle, but all in all, that seed wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, there definitely didn't seem to be a ton of roadblocks. I would say the biggest roadblock were those D-lunars. I would say the biggest roadblock were those D-lunars. Oh, I would say the biggest. Nitz, I think I got you on echo there.
Yeah, he fixed it.
Oh, okay. How you doing,
Yeah.
Nitz? Welcome.
He's muted at the moment. Yeah, it wasn't honestly all too bad. The characters that in the order we got them was really rewarding, pretty easy to work with, and like the bosses themselves were just not in really a bad order at all. So I mean, really just came down to choice, and in this case.
So while we're interviewing with Dave and Nitz guy here, we had 3 more finishers. Samura, 1-man, 39th place, 138.11. Rumblefish, 139.52 in 40th place, and Orange Joker, 41st place, 139.56. As we see, keddril, who I would say out of the 4 restream runners was in the lead until the D-lunars showed up. Now tackling Protomus here. What do you think about Protomus as the big bad boss?
Can't go wrong with Proto Man.
I still hear a lot of clamorings for them to add Zero from the X series, so we actually have a legitimate Zero-ness. Very possible that it is already in there, and we just haven't. I personally haven't seen it yet, but also I believe Nitz may be able to hear us. So if so, and willing to talk, good game, Nitz.
I'm gonna go ahead and bow out. Good game, Nets, and you all have a great night.
You too, Dave. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, same
And
to you,
good
Dave. Congratulations.
Oh, and now we do say hello to Nitz. Good game.
Thank you. Thank you very much to both of you. It was a pretty clutch fight. I made probably one bad decision, and that's probably where I ended up with the time that I got.
Yeah, that fight for sure was like all I thought when I saw that big bang go off that took out Fu and left Cecil with nearly no HP is, oh my goodness, that's such a far away to be in the fight to see it go awry like that, and you just managed to squeak it out, getting the last hit in probably before the next meteor might have did you in. So definitely a clutch fight there. And then you got the pleasure of showing us the trapdoor grind.
Yeah, I must have missed it, or it was somewhere else that I didn't check. I couldn't find where the sirens were, so I went in a different direction. Were they somewhere?
They, I believe, were somewhere on the overworld, but I do not remember off the top of my head. But there were some. We saw a lot of egg grinding, but your trapdoor grinding was sufficient. I mean, it takes a little bit longer because you do have to deal with enemies actually fighting you, but not at all a bad option there, especially having the Lucky key. So.
Yeah, they must have probably been in Kaipo then, because I remember going in there with the Sand Ruby, but I don't actually remember going into the item shop. So if they were anywhere, I bet you they were probably there now that I think about it. I had to make a decision at that point, and I was like, well, if they were on the moon, they were on the moon, so be it. I happen to be at 10 items with the crystal. I decided to play the overworld out regardless of Hook. I was secretly hoping that even if I followed the trail, that it would end in Magma Key, but unfortunately it didn't. So I'm sure that put me behind at some point. But I'm happy with how I played. I'm not too happy with the Z fight, but ultimately I won. So a win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I believe all 4 of our restreamed runners actually did go through most, if not all, of the overworld. So you weren't the only one. And especially running into the D-Lunars at that Rubicon spot, that's just a scary fight, especially if you run into a situation where you don't know, like possibly that attacking them will trigger their virus, or you're really set up for a physical team, so you don't really have the magical capabilities of taking them out quickly. And we actually do see keddril hitting the medio phase, so should be finishing very, very soon.
And there's the flash. Keddril finishing 46th place, 145.18.
GG to him. I just, in regards to D-Lunar, I was severely underleveled from a mage standpoint. I didn't have the spells I needed. I didn't have Nuke. I had Quake, but it wasn't doing enough until D-Lunars decided to virus me to death. But eventually I figured it out, and that cost me some time as well. But it is what it is. I'm glad I didn't finish last. That was ultimately the goal. I unfortunately didn't qualify, but there's always next time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the not qualifying, so we're okay.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there were 122 people, so there are 90 of us who are sort of on the outside looking in, so it's no big deal. But I wanted to just say shout out to both you and Game Boy. Thank you so much for doing the commentary. Thanks to Night Dew in the background, I believe, doing the tracking. And shout out to Natara, who takes time out of her day to be able to provide us this quality entertainment. So just make sure you follow all those runners. They're really awesome.
Appreciate it. It's been our pleasure.
Not a problem. That's about all I got. I think I'm gonna go probably. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll see.
Well, thank you for dropping by.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Thank you again for having me. Both of you have a wonderful night, and we'll see Cassidy. I'm sure almost ready here to finish up.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, so we'll see. We'll see if we can get Keddril in for an interview. Vitasia finishes in 50th place, 147.38. But came into this race 21st in the qualifying order, so probably a good chance we'll still see Vitasia in the league.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as soon as this race finishes, our great F. Coughlin will actually have the Z-scores updated, so our runners will know nearly immediately where they stand in the final standings for league qualifications. Definitely a nervous time for people on the bubble. I know that we've seen a lot of dot entrants checking to see where the times are, trying to figure out how close they may be to jumping into that top 32. So it's going to be very interesting for sure.
Yeah, we're down to just I believe 6 runners. So we're going to find out real soon. But let's concentrate on our final restreamed runner, and that's Cassidy. About to hang out, have a little date with Protomus, so to speak.
Now, I'm not certain. Maybe keddril. Yes, I think keddril and Cassidy both elected to go with 3 fighters on their team. However, Cassidy decided to do the really interesting thing and dropped Fu.
Well, I mean, the only disadvantage about Fusoya that I could possibly think of is the limited magic points of 190. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, definitely something that is a little bit of an issue in the Z fight that can take a little bit longer. Unfortunately, Porum went down, so Cassidy did have to take a little bit of time to just get the resurrection, and this Big Bang is going to take Palom out now, so taking time to do more curing and everything, and yeah, falling behind very, very quickly on this fight.
Oh my.
Cassidy trying to figure out how to play this. Lexi have gained Elixir himself, but gonna take another Big Bang immediately, and this might actually take Porum out as well, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at Cecil's hit point total of 3,584. So it seems like Cecil is at a very high level, which means very fast Zeromus. Or Protomus, I should say.
Yeah, with just how quickly Promos is getting the attacks off, Cecil's agility is probably sitting somewhere around the low 30s, would be my guess. Or not the low 30s, the mid 30s would be my guess, which isn't exactly where you want it to be.
Was able to get Sid standing, though. Probably will be able to take this Big Bang. Oh, no, never mind. Porum took too much damage. Oof.
Trying to do anything possible just to salvage the fight.
This is not Yoho finishes in 53rd place. So there are now 5 runners remaining, I believe.
And there's the reset that Big Bang would have taken out the 3 remaining characters, so gonna give it another go.
I'm sorry, we have 4 runners left. All right, did a little quick rearranging of things, and
saved up, and we're going to give Protimus another go here. Seawalker, the Dwarfax is important for this situation because it actually would decrease Cecil's agility by 5, which would put it more in the area of where you want it. Cecil's agility, when he is in the party, affects pretty much every other person's speed in the Zemus battle, so you want it to be at an ideal level, and the Dwarfax would help get it there.
all right, it's time to try out Protimus again here. Gonna wait a few seconds because there's a brief. Oh, actually, was waiting to throw down the slow here, so there it is, and that'll reduce Zemus' speed a bit.
And able to get the cure off on Palom before any Big Bang hits, so definitely in better position here, and we should probably see the start of the onslaught with Bacchus's.
Putting on those Bacchus wines so you don't have to concentrate on choosing the fight command. Alright, gonna try to time it to fire off that nuke so the Big Bang is a little bit weaker. Also deals a ton of damage.
Yeah, that's one of the nicer benefits of the nuke is just the amount of damage it can do. Fortunately, when you get nuked back, sometimes that doesn't go so well, but Palom just hanging on there with 20 HP after the Protimus nuke.
But the Cure 4 was cast at the just in time. And let's see if the Big Bang has been nerfed. Oh, I'm afraid not. Didn't look that way.
No, and it can be slightly deceiving, because for the magic to actually help in nerfing, you can't actually even enter the menu before Zemus shakes. If you enter the menu before Zemus shakes, it will not actually nerf. So You just have to be really careful into when you actually execute your menu.
But the good news of Talon dying here is that the Cure 4 is a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, the Cure 4 should be able to keep everyone's HP up exactly where it needs to be. About the worst thing that could happen would be Protomus either getting off a nuke or having a high rolling Big Bang that would take out Porum, especially with Bacchus characters, because then you're pretty much hoping for a black hole to be able to recover Porum. But then again, Elixir's help too.
Yeah. All right, here's the next Big Bang. Oh, and there goes Porum.
So Cecil is going to bring Porum back. The big hope is that there will be another turn available to heal Porum before the next Big Bang. Otherwise, it's just going to become an endless loop. Hoping that the run buffer can give enough time just to get the heal off, and Kane's going to attack first. But yes, Cecil is able to get the heal off on Porum, so we're back in business on Cassidy's side.
Yeah, and the good news is I do believe Protomus is slowed, so definitely gave some extra time there.
The nice thing is on the resurrection, Porum did lose the sap, so her HP actually didn't drop to a more significant level to where she was more susceptible to that Big Bang, which allowed her to hang on a little bit easier. She'll get this Cure 4 off no problem, and our damage should be getting us pretty close to the Meteo phase at this point.
But first, another black hole, removing all the berserks.
Yeah, the worst part about black holes in the Zemus fight is not only do you lose the Berserk status, but you normally have one attack queued from Berserk, but you lose the attack boost of Berserk. So you're basically dealing a regular damage attack instead of being able to get the blocks off right away.
And nuke on Kane, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
So we're getting all of our characters back into the Berserk status. Kane really being the big damage dealer here, about 4,000 a shot. And also one of the quickest characters in a Zemus fight. So definitely nice to have him dealing that much damage.
And there's the Meteo. So Protomus is in the final stage.
Yeah, typically, unless you're really, really close in the battle, when you see Meteo, it is basically good game at that point. You know it's just a few more attacks and you'll be in the clear. So definitely a relief when you see that Meteo.
And there's the flash. Cassidy finishes with a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, 23 seconds. GG. So we are now down to just 3 runners. So we will, before too long, we'll find out who makes the league. And we're going to see if we can get Cassidy in for a quick interview.
In the meantime, just going to do our one final go through of all the important information to say definitely make sure you give these 4 runners a follow. Great runners, really enjoy watching them do free enterprise, enjoy watching all the people do free enterprise, but definitely give them a follow. A big, huge thanks to Natara for helping us out with the restream tonight, and RPG Limit Break for hosting the race as well. Shout out to our tracker Night Dew. Once again, another really good free enterprise runner just gave up the night to help track tonight. And my partner in crime tonight, Game Boy F9. Thank you very much, sir. It was a joy to call this with you.
Yes, absolutely. Same here. And definitely give Crimson Avix a follow as well. Very much involved in numerous randomizer communities, including this one. So there you go.
Okay, and it looks like Cassidy is declining the option for an interview. So just also cluing up to say thank you so much to our amazing commentary team. We could not continue to do races like this without volunteers such as them. So thank you to them. And once again, give a follow to our runners. They worked really hard, and we tried to get a different variety of folks this match. So they all did fabulously. So when it comes to those looking for their Z-scores, as soon as the last couple of people have finished the race, because there are still 2 people running, Fred Coughlin should be able to get those out. So if they're not out tonight, they should be out fairly early tomorrow. And after that, you keep an eye on the Discord. We should start scheduling matches sooner rather than later, but I can't give an exact date. But thanks again for everybody coming out. Let's send you folks all to someone awesome. Let's see if there's anyone running free enterprise right now, 'cause that's what we want. I mean, what else would they be doing? It's a Tuesday night. That's what you do on Tuesday nights, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I do no, it's not what I do on a Tuesday night, but we'll pretend it is. Trying to find someone who's not running the league qualifier, because it's like, no, can't do that. Can't run the league qualifier. Oh, let's host RPG Limit Break. No, you know what? We're gonna send this over to Mr. Magoose. Always a wonderful person to do things with. So thank you everyone so much once again for coming out, and please look forward to the league, the highway to the Zemus-Zone. See everyone soon. Bye.
Good night.